Okay, so me ma na ye ho adwo. Na woni me be ya adwen se hia ye hia mu ha sei no yenim senti ayaba. Na se wonim a akwanya no na abeda ho no se ye be hu senti aye wa ha sei no. Na imbre amongst ye dwumedi a ye di no enne ye hyehyɛ mu no ya to ne din personality interview. That is ebeye nipa titiri ba ko bi esi honom na nsɛm bia ɛkɔɔtwi ɛba abraman no yɛtumi ebisa yɛn na yɛbɛyɛ nsɛmbisafoɔ mene me co presenter na sɛ co interviewer na yɛbɛbisa nsɛm no na akwanya ebem a yɛato nsɛmbisa no ama yɛn a yɛaka ne nyinaa nti wɔ ha sei na wowɔ asɛmbisa baako bi anasɛ mmienu bi a on anasɛ in an ordinary day no unhu sa nipa ko na wontumi embisa na this happens to be the time and then the chance wobɛtumi ebisa sa question no nti ɛbɛsɛ na yɛnsɛn brɛ no sɛ ɛsɛm pakeni ɛwɔ ha sei a ɛbɛto nsa afrɛ na yɛde yɛdwumadie no ahyehyɛ so ansa na no bɛto nsa afrɛ me co interviewer Miss Priscilla na wɔne me abɛtena ase na yɛtumi ahyɛ dwumadie no ase. Okay, so yɛbɛma yɛ na yɛ ho akwaba ebio na sɛnea medican aka no a yɛnim dada no so ndɛ eyimbre ɛyɛ personality interview hwehwɛ mu na yɛyi nipa baako otitiri ni baako a yɛwɔ nsɛmbisa apem ne ne mborosoɔ a yɛpɛ sɛ yɛbisa titiri nyan a yɛte ha sei no na wo so a wote hɔ no wasɛm bi a esuma ɛkokɔ mu a anka sɛnea medican kai no in an ordinary day no ka wontumi mbisa no akwanya aba sɛ wobɛtumi ebisa sa asɛm no na wobɛbisa sɛ aso hwan na yɛba aba interview ni nipa a yɛnya no ɛwɔ yakonwa kɛseɛ mu yi ɛyɛ no other person than brother Writena Amponsah oye otempakeni ema Takoradi Central Church of Christ. And so this very moment here we will pretend say ye nimuno. Yes, for this brief period no, we would pretend say ye nimuno, just so we would get to know more about who this personality is. And so without much ado, let us begin.
If I try better, I saw him painful. I say, someone my answer, na yada soft so I say your friend on one opportunity. Yenim say, Jumade be na odi o busia, bani name no, ye hodo inti, and ne waje atum say obeba na ye decide Jumadi inti pacho. So for your first question, I perceive this. I want to say, you say we are suffer a Takoradi Church of Christ, and also suffer. I will preach ma Churches of Christ a Ghana ne amanone. But beyond being a preacher, what can you tell us about yourself? Like, want to know a bit about you.
Okay, see, the kind the radiasi, and Madam was for start to free. I would rather put it like this: what do you want to know? Until you ask what you want to know, and I'll tell you because I'm a man. To be a man. The toss me, you know, my worry. You were and Koda me and son, woman I am a man. Me a Ghana, me free Eastern region. Eastern region, me free Achimbergro. A papa, a free Crobo, a queno mampon. Ti Begro, if I fee, a queno mampon, so if I fee. Mene minuanum, na ye 5. Pejini pa de ti aka 4. 4 no so. 3 ye mema na 1 ye oba. Oba ni no di mechi. Ti among minuanum no no ye madamfo. We ye no free ho no mo a. Na nka me se me kodi soja. na nso Awurade ampene ɛna ɔde me abɛtena ha yi ɛberɛ a mehyɛ m'abrabɔ ase wɔ me kurom no me starte me day care ɛwɔ school bi a saa berɛ frɛ no kyerɛ wodɔ nso ma sɛ din no de kɔ what I don't remember ti free kyerɛ wodɔ no ɛfrɛ me Amponsah yike ti me nyina ma dwenkyerɛm sɛ yike na yɛaborɔfo din because me de Amponsah yike na kɔ sabi yɛ kɔ KG yankɔ na Ezri ti from KG 1 KG 2 ne kɔ class 1 enti Amponsah yike na me de kɔ class 1 na me kɔ primary school no ne akɔtwerɛ me din wɔ Salvation Army Salvation Army wɔ AB yɛkɔtwerɛ me din wɔ B sɛ hɔ na menkɔ because na me auntie baako na yɛ primary 1 teacher ɛwɔ hɔ but ɛberɛ menkɔ Salvation wɔ school ɛna wɔn wɔ church na wɔn wɔ clinic na wɔn san wɔ rehabilitation center church hɔ ansa na waduru primary A hɔ sanna wakɔ primary B na fi me nkwala abiri mu nyinaa baabi a mekɔ biara no asɛ nkyɛn nkurɔfoɔ ahu me nti wɔn a me ne wɔn kɔɔ kyerɛ wodɔ no they knew me unfortunately bebree nan so ba Salvation nti me nante akɔ primary B hɔ then I meti wɔn akyi yike betwa me ne wɔn a me ne wɔn kɔɔ kyerɛ wodɔ yi na egu hɔ yi ɛna me sɛ na mo yɛ dɛ wɔn sɛ yɛwɔ ha mo A ana B ɔmo sɛ yɛwɔ A na me sɛ na B no menkɔ me books ɔmo to nyinaa ka B hɔ mankɔgye so me hyɛ ase free Salvation hɔ now memfa wei mɛhyɛ mu me drew primary 6 nti me yɛ repeat me wɔ school da yɛ repeat me sɛ mabɔn ne repeat me sɛ maso ayɛ den me nyina na me hu sɛ ne nyinaa aka anema na Awurade de prepare me no ti seesei me nyina me mpɛ ayɔnkosɛm me do primary 6 no na abrante bi ɔyɛ yɛ neighbor ɛfɛ no kwasi sachi saa bɛ no ɔno ɔwie JSS and until recently obi wie JSS ɔsɛ ma wie school to wie JSS no ɔno awie school and Sunday me kan me maame no ɔyɛ trader ɔtɔn nneɛma to ɔkɔ Okuada market day, Thursday market day and Friday market day wɔ yɛ kurom ti krakye ne twɛn ama me maame pii a na ɔbɛfrɛ me sɛ yɛnkɔtwi bicycle because na mepɛ bicycle a lot ɛna na mepɛ nsuo mu nso adware ti saa nneɛma mmienu wei destructe me ɛwɔ primary 6 ti afei na me bɔkɔ nkɔ school ti teacher na ɔkyerɛ madeɛ at the time no ɛma n'ani bere me so ɛna repeat me 1 repeat me na so den no mɛnyae ti me primary 6 yɛyi me di free school ti teacher no sɛ menkɔ na me school bi o yi me di enti during that time na me hu sɛ ade na ayɛ serious ti me mother wo fie na me ba fie before school ebepɔ no say what is the issue so I narrated it to cut a long story short and ye kopa ache o maame and then ye gye me to mu bio ti sɛ mo ahwa me obi am the time ye adwuma sha ase free ho ti teacher ni no e ma me assign verbal bond sɛ free saada no ɛda bia me late aba school ana mebɔko a enye me maame na seek permission ama me no me maame mabio me amayi me ho adi and that day na sakra amadwe and so I became serious with my studies and I made free ho ekɔ JSS me kodu JSS no Salvation school no na ye highly known for cultural practices ti yesa cultural dance your friend Kitty ti ano nso menim sapa na me koduru ho no madam na no in charge friend madam Mod so mo am timi na America ena o se wu fra himfie ntu betumi asa but truth be told sa abra na menim sa ti da ye de me kogina mu no che se nkrofo sere me di me ho fe wa se menya ade lesson ba ko ho ne say bibi a pesa wo ye no if you put your mind to it obetumi aye wo mo sere me no in fact bi wa ko GSS de se wusa enti it got to my head na me yes I mean say bi but baby ani ye fie wo no se school ne bo ye fe na boma omo bo from ne ade no awote ti me wo fie a then I was practicing ti me practices me ani ba me so no na menya musa me ana me create ye ti one day na me ka che madam say mesa and she was surprised and me be gina mu no to me sai at any given point in time here wo hene e wo saa culture we no so me rise through obi a minimum sa e be ye ohene of that thing in collaboration with kakra me say wo ho na me come match passing so but me do GSS 3 and me decided say me nko bio because my match free primary 6 they be do GSS 2 ti me nko bio and say you come match pass no a your school be kwa perform at the gathering and say ya match pass no ti madam no if you want to put it your star person your match my say onko bio. So she wanted to use the cultural dance to lure me into venturing into the march pass. No, she said, "Man, march pass, no, my mensa." And I'm saying, "Mensa." To me, decided say mensa so. And my colleagues in the catch me say, "School, I say, I saw no the correct to see obi ade." To say, "Madam, so my own sir, be saying the enko." Na, you bet me egu madam ne de no, na wo de na stand. Another lesson we want to say, be mindful of a footwear award. Intimate here, and the nipper two di mechi, nipper two pe. And the young nam to kanko na ntwene we inside, na the osa no, inside no osa. Na me nam wechiri, and na me sa, and then kofu di mechi na no. So before you realize, na madam no crowd ni nyina dane abetwa echi ameme ho. The madam ba no say Amponsah yike me se me ma won sabi na me say madam ba me gina nya wo kan ko a wo ye me media and so I say onya de me me agya atwene ne bo e no me agya ebo so eventually ade no agu ntimi free ho no at the time na wo technical school a it was assume say utirewu but na me wo passion for technical stuff. Tonight, I say me call electrical engineering. But my senior brother they can't call ye. To me choose say me call automobile. So when I share me automobile engineering na say. And na me wie, nti me wie ye no. And I decided say me call soldier. Ye time na in fact before say me be wie. And maybe I'm able to say my skip if you ask, but if you don't ask then I'll come back to it. Let me put it in. Before I say me real, me call Form 1. Tis I bring you na me no be a church person. No. I was just living my life as a normal boy. As young guy biano, na me wa girl. But me call year 1. First term, second term, you buy me terms. Me aba me terms no baby if you ni wo me wo ho ana my grandfather ba ko awu ti akoyi ne bed e de abesi wo and that became my bed me that so I had a dream and in the dream na me maame owo me eni me nua boy a odi machi 2 so abe no ye ketwa omukwa church in the dream and I mini nua girl na me so no e madam fo no yen ye wo fie in the dream ti me busa no say me ma de friend awo me nua boy de friend kwasi na me say awo ni kwasi kwa asori and yen ye wo fie say rade ba ye be ye den even though me kwa asori nyina and I had that consciousness me busa asa question ni wie ye pe in the dream no then asase sha say e paapai and cracks no ɛsoso to the point sɛ onipa wura mu a ɛbɛyɛ ti madwene ka kyerɛ me sɛ atemu da aba. Then I heard a voice in my ears, dwane kɔ Church of Christ asɔre dɛm. Nti how come am bɛyɛ okristo ni no first dream ɛno no, and the operative word was dwane, run. Me sha ase sɛ me dwane no menti me anwane ampa yɛ fie ni ho ɛna m'ani so tee me. M'ani so tee me na me ho nyinaa afɔ. For 2 weeks 3 weeks na saa daa no hyehyɛ m'adwene mu, but ankyɛ na ɛkɔɔe. Me so no wɔ year 1 year 3 mo be wie square campaign mo ti yɛ campaign yɛn no me da student bed ne so, and I had a dream again and again. In the dream na me wɔ me kurom, and yɛ fie no yɛ wɔ pillars 2 sisi fie n'anim na me de me shoulder way actually pillar baako. Then I asked myself in the dream bio, so they say me nkwa asɔre onyame ba mɛyɛ den. Ti me drew I tell people say me ho yɛ Yesu da. Na yɛ fie no face eastward. Ti yɛ fie yɛ kurom na wie pie a yɛ kuro no bepɔ atwa ho ahyia. Ti awia ne pie wɔ bepɔ n'akyi. Ti baabi a yɛ awia ne pie no, then me hu sɛ clouds no asɛ yɛawai bi afiri hɔ. Then you could see a throne descending like that. Nipa no hu ne ti, but do hu said they said they were a shooting this time a shoot to a baffle. And 3 they are very visible, one here, one at the middle, and there is one here. They want me to no buy ya see from no and I suspend there. Then I realized atemu da aba. Then I heard the voice again, Dwane Church of Christ. I'm sorry there. And also, I said, me, Dwane no, meant me and drew her. And a man should tell me. And now, enter a school. To a school, and now, call me Crum Dimini Mako Guho, na me back. Tis Abreno, na me say, Medi Suja. Now, me will be a qualify me, and a quack with the soldier. Me walk, started, I'm walking. He was just waiting for me to complete school na akodi soja. Yeah, near top forms. It's almost scratch card. The me top forms na me feel me dey na feel bi am obi. The feel me ni pakro no a, ni pakro no anya, me nya. Can no be boa me no. The first one time no so ye dey copies come no. Before obe endorse e be frame no wawu. It was also for soldier from penny for 3. So he took my brother to ask the question, how many soldiers do you want to kill because you want to become a soldier? And between the soldier and the preaching, you could see say the more me Dwane free preaching, then God will be bringing you back in line. Ain't me fancy then maybe a more question be a me.
Wow.
So maybe suffer that's baby, but who can was no school attended I show Amponsah EK.
Name go matadi. But the machine school as
okay.
Me din a cultural school, a free KG, said the canon. I am Amponsah EK. Okay. Well, TB I mean family din in Somra.
EK in a say
I meant EK Nabadi. I am a grandfather din. So no friend Writena Amponsah, and I me Amponsah EK. The difference the baby initials no, no. Or T E stand for Emmanuel, K stand for Kwabena. Then Kwadabe is a 10 and a 2 no. Or my grandfather, but me pet na me Kwabena. To the said Dean na Emami. Me wo Abrofudin. There's 5. Now, Nina Abakwasem wo. Enti Amponsah no menya free my grandfather ho. Yedi ankasa ye ba, but me nyini ma nyinsu. Ti ayere free me bere kosim. Ti my grandfather de Amponsah ne maame. E na odi Emmanuel eka. me father nkasa maame Patrick ɛna me father nadamfo a na ɔyɛ ɔsɔfo ɔyɛ Baptist sɔfo ti yɛwo me no ɛna yɛsɛ ɔka kyerɛ papa sɛ akoa wei deɛ daakye bi oni a ɔbɛyɛ nyame adwuma nti ɔno nso maame Gabriel ba Gabriel no dem a drop it Writena no a ɛna ma project no ɛno yɛse broni na gye ma wo na mohwɛ me baketewa sɛ esi ano a te mimi so anam yɛ kɔkɔɔ sen no Ghana brabɔ na ayɛ bi sei ti broni ni hunu mi no ɔhwɛ nkwara a wadwo ma wo ni nyina tum sɛ me ho ɔfɛ ɛna ɔka kyerɛ mo sɛ onyaayɛ ankɔde ne din no ɛbɛto me according to the story because abe na mini hɔ me wɔ hɔ nso mini hɔ so one of my grandmothers a na wɔ hɔ no ka kyerɛ no sɛ we have a culture ntumi mfa wudin ɛnto akwadaa kɛkɛ ti sɛ ɔyɛ serious deɛ a ɛda a yɛto me din na ɛsɛ sɛ ɔwɔ hɔ na ɔno di din no ɛbɛto me and true to that ɔgye tum ti da a yɛto me din no na yɛ handband and edin no ti me wɔ adwuma yɛ ɛyɛ Dr. Writena ti doctor ka ho because he was a medical doctor ti Dr. Writena na ɔde bɛbɔɔ me nsa ɛna ɔkyɛɛ me saa abrɛ no £100 me maame ne papa di a kɔmo university yɛ a ɛm sɛ ka mini problem enti ɛhɔ na menya Writena ne nso efiri ti I have Writena, I have Emmanuel, I have Patrick, and I have Gabriel enti ɛno no nti Amponsah yike no ɛyɛ Emmanuel Writena Amponsah tɛ na me de hyɛ school ase but Amponsah yike ɛno an na minim tɛ wo sɛ me be free primary 6 teacher no a o repeat me no ɛna ɔka kyerɛ me sɛ me du JSS a sɛ yike no me nsesa no and I was so offended me di a me de nam de yɛ den na masesa no by me do na me hu sɛ yike enye din it was just initials to the actual names and that is how come Amponsah yike was dominant during that time.
That's a plan. Remember, my colleague so
well, you this idiom, I say, will be actually 2 birds with 1 stone. But your personality, in your idea, 1 stone, no, or shall 2 birds in Ensono to kill a whole lot of birds. Engulf questions you have which is a good thing. Now, moving forward, we have come to know per our research, so we are a family man, and then a married man as well. Yankopon are blessed with 3 kids. Now, the question is, how do you maintain being a family man and you being a preacher, not forgetting the fact to say, this, I mean, can you say, how do you blend being a family man, a preacher, and then having your personal time?
Okay.
How do you juggle all of them together?
One of the difficult things to do, the kind of may rely heavily on Nyankopon. Adeɛ baako a Nyankopon de akyɛ me sɛ be a very good observer. Enti ma observe a preacher for bebree abrabo. Ye adwuma wei no. Sɛ wodi agro a be travel from the church into your home. Now say ekowura wo fie hɔ no mo a enema tu na de ba. Na edi kan no you are almost always busy. Enti obehunu sɛ onkomodie mpo na aye regimental. So one of the things in fact 2 things na maye. The edi kan say all the time me bɔ mpaeɛ no me ka kyerɛ Awurade sɛ ma adwuma na me ye no nwurawura me tirim sɛ deliberate hyɛ da bɔ ho mpaeɛ because sɛ ewurawura wo tirim pɛ wobɛyɛ dwɛ. That is number 1. Number 2 no me try as much as possible sɛ menya kɔ fie pɛ menya sɔfo sɛ menya du fie a asɔfo dwuma no yɛde abɛwie Into you do fear, I am a husband and I am a father. It is a was a man quadani diagra. Menu mu diagro to the lowest level that you could think of. Meyere or ye meyere sebi menya ne sofo quote unquote. Occasionally say menya ne rofa. Me use sad and the rough. But say on a daily basis, constantly reminding myself, say, oh, you're suffer, oh, you're suffer, oh, you're suffer. Oh, yes, sir. Then, to say that kind of, feel be a regimental, unto me flexible. Into my drink, them says, I am you do it, and I bought me.
Sophia Patrick, so from the earlier introduction, now we know, who say from the very beginning, you know, there were signs saying Yakupon epese from obey nejuma. So we want to know say Yakupon efro no from the story no even from year 1 to year 3 and it took some time. How did you take that calling? Did you have any doubts? Did you try to resist? And I say, what was it?
For doubt, no. Resistance, yes. To me, we school no. There is a twist which that one I want to reserve because my wrong book. So that twist, that one I reserve it today. Me read school, me say me the Bible, me read it. Me ba Accra. So the dreams are many no. I feel I said I wasn't of myself. He said me didia, na me read ho. And me buy a dan na me demo no. It is I be na me ni Bible. The Bible na me wo ye New Testament blue bi no. Tell me wo na me kondo, me say me kwa asori a eno na mafa. Ba me nkan, go me kwa ekura me keke. Ba me bedru fie wa Accra no. Baby me da no. There was this old Bible and the old King James version, the E down. Ti me na me de share me Christo so mo ase. Na de dem ho. Na mbusa me baby e che no me papa me nuanom nyina na yete ho. Bible we find there will be asanya ne there. So that is the first mystery to my conversion. So I started reading it. Now no be so ache me diary 2008 diary. Na ma tro ne ma 3 ewo me din, me telephone number and me email. Me tro hwe wo mbi oda. But I feel me sha say me sua Bible no. The more I accommodate me no, I felt good. And so I started making my own notes. Till me hear me notes no a bob between 11:30 12 a year. I may say about na ma say preach. Till me before some be boss no, I ma say preach dada. Till me ko preach no be busa me say dey answer na wo kwa me nyia no. But I tell them opa sorry akwa Church of Christ. And me try date at the ma me ho. Say it was 10th June thereabout. So that day na pesa me kobo esu e obachuna. Now Saturday night into Sunday no around 11:30 and adwene nsu sha ase say eto. Nsu no toya ma ade echi. Na me fa nsu no ko church say ada na me bosu. Enti me so boy etu sheda. Because sofo no ka kire me say pom ne yekobo esu no. Ase de nsu ato ne yekọ a e de yebekọ. But me who say a radin say because now me read Matthew chapter 3 ye boy radin Yesu asuwie ye no okọ so me yekoso ne hwe no wie no hye na dwuma se wa hono te me de hye me trim say me nya bo asuwie pe me ekọ me tie sikrum no akọ preach te to share the following week no there was a guest preacher say kwa papa no wawu na obe preach ye no as if say thought wo betrim no obi ni na discuss to Yusu Matthew 28 verse 19 and 20 na baby o highlight here pa na say continue to teach them. Now continue to teach them no and na o zero ne down to the point say ye bo wasu wi atena se na ye nkyerɛkyerɛ wade me say me nso na yɛ sɛ me boy me so yi a me ekoi ti papa no ka asɛm no ya ti me ka kyerɛ mo sɛ ye bom yesu wi ametena Church of Christ for 3 months na de omde be kire mi omfa nkire me ye wi am fa me Bible a me 23 months no na am de abeduru hai aha along the way to automobile no me jai to ho resistance no ana me koye system engineering now eno na pese me de trick unyankopon because still na ma dwen chem say soldier no pese me ko because preaching no me ye kakra be hu say ahometie bibre wom de di kan let me be honest ya sorry we mu yemu ade na nkrofo a yemu wom no e preachers ti me hu sa ade no and enye preaching a mebu me ho nti metimi no watena piu so say ya obi ankasa ne nua ti preaching na aboa me a metumi communicate that much and I wanted to avoid that say ama ne hu ne ade me pese me fam and ata hwe fa se bia me kan wa nka me de bi ye urade say nka urade te ho obi hu ana afachiri na ma se akowura so je nim na me de naja ho and me koye system engineering say me de no ekowura so je nim na preaching no ato atwene baby and nso urade ama na amaso na or the shape me line or the Bible drew hand. So yes, doubt no. The entire many doubt no. Around be 7-8 years, I remember saying it. Say minia man could soja may suffer. So for doubt no, by resistance yes.
Yeah, that's a very big.
Now, yeah, follow-up question no, and it's has there ever been a sermon we preach here in your impact on your personal life?
Yes. Me, and even though me preach sermons bebre kwa, but sermons me know personally, imagine tell me say me really me infida. Your choices have consequences. And remember who you are. I think say I'm a preacher wahada. Remember who you are. No? In fact, choices have consequences. Papa your friend is Chuck Norris. Me na me was slim. Me missions wo. Na yenhwe TV. Ye commission field that yenhwe TV. It is only on Fridays and they hear movies. Na me yonko broni no na de CDC no eba ti ye use projector na board no aya ye de kira de no ya projector to so na de ahwe movies na some of the movies no aye hwe no Chuck Norris in the movie na on say American kola bibre asay ento ma ko peke street boys and ye do o ma ko rehabilitation center say ye kwa akomo omo orientation. Now, giving them orientation, and or can't ask them. Say, Yadem Wabahe, Ubetimi asking a granny, ako. And I be to me at Naha, na ye grooming to become the better version of yourself. Remember, choices have consequences. Or can't ask them no, and the PSA me heart. I say, we say, Mom. To me, sorry free, movie nasi. I'm a cool ram, then I'm far pencil. And I'm a true to her. See, Bibia, a Bamaduma person, the sermon, I preach sermon. Now, my true topic, you know, I can say a Bible passage, and my true passage in account. So I wrote the topic, preach sermon, choices have consequences. To me, me quite die, you know, I homanache, bear 12, not many tea. And I could feel the burden on my chest. I said, me developers are sermon, so I did that. Then remember who you are, and also so America so janibi. Ti me preach sermon na me na yoti sa story no. And I know kasa dia fa Minister of Defense bi ne encounter unyaye during time wana oye minister any time wa or step down. The same program you invited twice, one as a minister and one as a former minister. Na nimi enu nyina no ohun sharp contrast e wo the way you treat you no emu so eno so me te asem no na me se da bi e sermon and no so me try to ho and then me develop it, and I got that sermon. See, these two sermons, yes, I've preached a lot of sermons, but some sermons me anyway, because of the stories attached to them. Madam Chem said they are those sermons I will never forget about.
Patricia, that's it. Your next question is we want to know, once preaching, there are a lot of challenges in it. So we want to know, has there ever been a period where your faith was really tested to the point, you thought of giving up, and how did you overcome it?
Giving up in preaching, I think, maybe I consider no more than I could remember. Yeah. Preacher, or the coffee will be a catcher. And yet, Juma, airful. And to say the American, my engineering too. Okona yechrewa. Se wunya master adien de she utrimwa. Ehun hia se obe sori ahomanachi. Se o revise who knows. Just say technology fufu bi aba wa kusua. Preaching tisa. Ujayi mpo a. Oh, yes, obe addicted to it. Because we jayi mpo a untumi nya ya desua. To wa say me say me kan say de nan ka ma me adwane afi preaching ho no. Say church ni emu ade. Na de a obonsam eyusu ne say onyame yusu bi a oyusu strength. Obonsam be so attack wa oyusu weakness. Enti enema obonsam yusu bebre, especially during the early stages no. Say no many people animtia. And one so what it takes so the benya secular work. To see ebu animtia no, then you will consider Adam Kran and Minyai. And I remember my first congregation, America Same Hande, you know. Never one cry, Krabi Ase, if you do blue gono. Me and I started church from scratch. Me and I appointed church leaders here, and we were like brothers. You could meeting a chebayre. They are a gizzard. They are a green sauce preacher in the church leaders. We banner to 1 year. The one old preacher, not old but senior preacher of mine. He saw it. Not as awful. Now me call. That's how the honor church leaders say, come on, but be careful. Me did not tell me between. So Obonsam used that, and then he hardened their hearts, and they turned against me bitterly. See, I know there's about 75% Nigeria preaching on Makumem. And I know a betrayal. And then at what was until no more. Do baby as when your stability kakra as I do man as we be abem no some the bibi free pa or the abem mean so it keeps coming, but as and when you grow in the faith I feel better as I say it is part of it. And say ujayi mpo a obonsam unya o brother say am asem bi o kan ya me de ato metrim o se obi a wo ye adwuma no a wama ne ho kwan obonsam de no tormented no se ujayi adwuma no a ontumi nye ti sa statement no so aboa me nti say minyai no ene ye kofom. But when I started initially me say be say be 100 times the media o madwenem. Yes, there has been times I consider more than necessary times in Nyayanka Medjai.
All right, so in as much as ever per se, it be a lot of questions, no. And Merson said that new hosa,
yeah.
But yet I say bisa one more question. Not ye are to ama you know no for no say bia na ebinum our questions ba kwa na say me bia. All right, so the last question now is, what message would you like every young person here and now to leave this premises with?
Okay. The Edikai and Marsha Nancy me Simons Muno me focus was audience. Bompire pass ube to me identify or purpose. And me chim tia say success is purpose fulfillment. Tiawa. Ubi a waye ye biano. Ayo a wahunu botaye ntia erade do ba asase so say wohunu botaye ntia erade do ba asase so na o ya o mre ti preaching you know me who say I don't struggle to do it. I have the flair, it comes naturally. Me da sorry na ade me gina pulpit achi a me preach enti identify your purpose. The tosu me nu ya mpese obi a de free ha no I put it like this. One of the things are preachers, you face a lot, criticisms. Now, so when you know how to deal with criticisms, you can't go far in life. Now, criticisms, you know, you know, constructive criticisms. And the word destructive. Now, how do you decipher the end destructive, not the end constructive? Obi criticize one, by and large. The person walking down and say, "Why be one year the year?" And son will to me out will say, "One year be you know, just in the pakunu onim de into every constructive criticism, no, or criticize you we are. As a set or mount alternative to biara or criticize you na the interest in just to criticize you, a destructive. Now for you to deal with it, I have quite a 9 mini use and I want to share them with you. Number a abbreviation but okabo mo abenya slim. Oh no. Enti obia or criticize one. The S stands for the source. Tibusa answer why na criticize me no. No. The background or criticize me no. Why ya? As I say, or you obia we pay attention to or not. So find the source of that criticism. The L a woman say learn from the criticisms. Me Sebi, criticize me that badly, whatever. I try to learn something out of it. The criticism be about so no, try to learn out of it. Now the I in it, I want to say constructive and destructive. Say, woshe na a destructive, ignore it. So just ignore it, because obi o person o distracted one. Who ye baby? Before Sabi, ahoya wa yafa. Say who ye baby no onto me enya. Obefa kwan bia so de abu abem. Te obeb kasa ya. Enti learn how to ignore. So obe hu say ade na wo ye no pese you distracted wa ignore. Enti obetumi as I say Nehemia ye nim the story no. Enti ignore. Say ujina na backing door ki biya so beto bo Bible no unu baby a walk. Then the fourth one, which is the M, always try to figure out the motive behind the criticisms. Obi wo hono mo a they have your interest at heart. Enti obetumi criticize you sharply. But uti onipa no din a say benya wo downfall nti na criticize you. Try to figure out the motive. And obi wo no mo a utumi say wa sheda. Opeso ya na obu abem. And me share preaching ase no sabi ti say the American me start preaching and say na me ba Bible college e wa ha. Ti me preaching emfi dodo and say na me ba Bible college. And one of the things I work yaso ni mu no say me nim ba bi a isu asa ade ni free on call Bible college a onye preacher. People started using that against me. Now, me who say I don't fight them. But in number 3, I don't be who say position yourself to the point that even your enemies cannot ignore your influence. Me to me say subject biara Church of Christ ye ka ho asem no, I will master them. Me topic biara me me to me actually. I don't say no to topics. Enti me master saade no. The toss me, there is the subject matter, but me try say me style of delivery. Me na be me amedia. Nti me sua ade afi nipa bebre ho, brother say me sua ade bebre ho. By my style of delivery, I try to own it. Nti I am the originator of my style of delivery. Eba ne saa no a obi a tie we hunu say nkofo bebre akasa afa topic in a home, but when you present it, it sounds new in their ears. Me yes adie no. Ibe hunu preachers ya me muso mo mpem asem. Ibe hunu sa adie no. But oye program one, no way invite me. Because what your time or time no to nchen ya, when me say me ba, me deliver. Learn how to deal with criticisms. Position yourself in such a way that even your enemies cannot just brush away your influence. When you do that, then you know that you are going somewhere. And then the first one, which is the last one, is that identify your purpose, and you'll be able to do well in life.
Wow, so better was from our side, and we would have loved to say, from here, no, but we have lots and lots of questions. Now, so time will be say, and your luxury now with the idea grossa. At this juncture, no, you better questions, no, I'm a more audience, and I say, you know, in Kafuya, more way. The best say, Ubuo, assemble, and I say, Munubia. Okay.
Good evening. So for in Blade as I can send me brema. Young baby and I'll come out to him. The master in this and there. What has actually been your biggest and the deepest regrets ever in your life? And how did you overcome it?
Wow. Or deepest regret. Okay. On top of my head, deepest regret. And it's a bia education bia osenka me akwa no dadaada manye. The man who say onware ya because imagine chem say a break akra etwam ansa na me ware. During those times, there was a adisua bi am pese misua se ka misua ne 10 na be free kwan anim but manye me say adwuma ya see last Sunday brother Alex Nketia or say the papa betumi dey abo preacher ba ko no higher education ye adwuma we na me say we share knowledge. That's the essence of ye adwuma we enti all the time I say unya pool of knowledge o kasa ubetumi ne enkofo a wono o mehia no akasa enti adisua is part of it. So nka me to the question at the 10 more. So bed no say abeda me so no. Imagine chem senka so better. How am I fixing that? I am paying a lot of sacrifices to fix it because yere ma adwuma wa hono. Ansa na e wo se wo home. Adwuma na kwantu bebre ewom na wasa the school abebata. I think say on top of my head that is one thing I make us say here and there I regret it. So mention ade bebre ewo anim ho na sa amani hu ya ba beto makonso. Yeah.
Thank you. The person in Bisa say, were you born in the church and how free other and I'll join in?
Okay.
Based on that, as a preacher, you deal with a lot of church members. How will you compare the commitment level of those who joined the church from other church and those who were born in the church.
Okay.
Linking it to church growth.
Okay.
Then with the low key, from your introduction, said a Baptist preacher said that you are going to be a preacher.
Yeah.
Do you see him as a prophet who has prophesied into your life?
Okay. All right. No, because even himself, he never saw himself being a prophet. Until there be out of conviction, they are able to make such pronouncement. Eventually, it will come to pass. Now, the second one got to do with, I deal with church members a lot. Until Obia, you want to talk asonim, and Obia free abontin by, in terms of church growth. How do I see them comparatively? Me who say one way free abontin by, they come with conviction. And one way walk church in they suffer complacency. A lot of them don't know why they should belong to the Church of Christ. And to them, they are only two. The Church of Christ is like any other denomination. And sorry. And it is much difficult to convince those people to understand that there's one church. To anamasonim, so on Sadan Tidi, I said there's one true church. But obi ofi abonten ba no wanya other experiences e for say oswa insuo fa ubodwa meyinu a na ehunu de eba ahono enti ono no wakone na bachiri hɔ a ene ya kanya mesema che no na waye evaluation ene wahunu say ampa there is a church in the Bible ene waba abedwen enti meye preacher no ase saa nkofo de ya no omugidie mu odin ese ne wo mu a you want to church anymore. Now to myself, you want me to win a derby, you want me to. And yes, I see, and I call you what dance. My queen, what dance. In fact, my grandfather never met no, you what dance for more or less preacher. Oh, you know, say me can be almost 30 years ago, but on the tape, every year at their memorial they play it. So you can imagine. Influence and all church and so. You free hono, my father down from a Baptist suffer, Tia Baptist and so. And along the line, Papa said, Wabimu Church of Christ. Well, no, Te Obenene Mukaka, and Sana, me so me die. Ya, me the same to be remua, ya the bomb, Sunti, young me antum, there be.
Asempaka ni yada wase. No question na hodi o miensa. Dedi kan ye, what was your first preaching experience like? And what was the biggest lesson you learned from it? Etosu mi no. Who are the spiritual mentors or figures that have influenced your walk with God the most? The last one. What were some of the biggest challenges or temptations you faced as a young person, and how did you navigate them?
Okay. Preaching, I be preaching what I saw them no. Me ye me krom. Na me ko ho, ti ya me ka se car bo me da. Me ko me krom, ko tena moto so na car bo me. To me try me krum be 3 months. So after 1 month, I mean, every church gathering be an kobe. To papa ba and say cry well. I know who personally, a crime by come fast with my appointment, or church attendance, and how committed you are. To papa no, I the way I'm back church, no busa. The appointing authorities say, brother, I didn't know engage. To my first appointment, on my member pie, and the preacher, a man said, we could not preach Sunday, normal service, and then you may so. Tell you, Mirano, or task him, say, men prepare me preaching. The topic can be preaching, how do you worship? How do you worship? Now, the experience was much tense. I was very, very tensed. Because Friday no a ye ball my man say me preaching no men to me anayi. And me sermon no me revise no probably more than 6-7 times. So me done many tibia na makwohwe na my adjustment kakra and all that. And at the time stage flight was high. Enti me kai say eno so me twi me say be say 3. Ansa na me twi me say na I say masia ko twi bio ansa na me twi me akobi. So it was highly tensed. Semekaya. Challenges. Well, as a young preacher, most of the challenges free. Emaho. Or say men love women, but women love popular men. Women love men who are in a position of influence, especially the men warrior. You know, me co-programmer. Young ladies in the you know, obi wo ho nhia ameda. Tafo mu humi a, o ma hu se sa akwa no ya brante. Enti afi no bia pese o catch your attention, and that became problematic. Enti at some point in time who say a man bi to be a obe serve no nyaaya akọ no obe serve wa to the end of the program. Ba ko a e bia metumi ne mo ahye 2018 me call TV program e wo CTV the class media for TV e wa Accra no 2018 na me abrante esen yene na me kodru ho no they have reception studio 1 and studio 2 ti me pa reception na dey me call studio 1 ho ti ho na ye ti say waiting room na one lady came out. Ohumi ochiame na osan rest studio ho. And a romance of will be a video be so funny. Osan go for busan say father ntia do you have challenge with women also there tena ho. Oh yeah be ma say wo hu oba ne ho ofa wo hu. The sister ne call you know. Then another lady came and no. Very huge and everything you could think about a woman, she has it. So I also buy no bechiame. Now I say, okay. To me, my focus will create a program. But she was more engaging than the first one. To buy no busa, I say, maybe show be I say I have a program here. And no busa, I say program bang. Program if you know a FISM. Now 2 personalities and a coso, preachers and counselors. So she didn't want to believe say me a suffer. So she asked me, why? Are you a counselor? And I'm saying, no, I am a preacher. And I was a preacher asking the pastor. And I'm saying, yes. And I'm going to inside. Not to know it's on why makeup artist. The answer na meko no or na obey makeup and answer na mako. And she used that to her advantage. To your coin or some baby, no say, Osofo, are you married? And I'm say, no. Do you have a girlfriend? And I'm say, no. Hey, so how do you cope? And then she went. So during the time all you make up on a you see, me to say, and when make up on her, or be when you say, and Uku said deliberately she knew what she was doing. Then she said this. Osofo, I'm say yes. Don't say I am Jezebel. But if not, you are saying you are Osofo. Can this night party before you go home? What I'll do with you, I would have done it before you go home. And I know some we are no. To me point, I go to the motor and at home, and I'm the coffee. These things will have psychological effect on your mental faculty. One of the challenges that I have had, there are times women will see you and they will tell you, if you not marry me, just let me have your kid. And some of these things are very, very challenging. Probably, some of the challenges is also you might not know. no be asɛn de sika sɛ sika wei kyɛma ɛkunafo wo a ɔma wo bi ebi wɔ hɔ no mo a interestingly ɔsɛn de sika no a sɛ 1,000 cedis ɔsɛn asɛn de 1,000 cedis as a woo year you pay the charges meanwhile wa no wo ho akyerɛw wodi agorɔ pɛ wobɛdi sika anya wo dea ti ɛno nso so yɛ one challenge that we go through as preachers but our question is me here no awie the last one there way oh spiritual mentors dodi kan yɛ brother Siama me pɛ na sɛm ɛnam how a ɔde ahoɔden ka onyame asɛm mbe hunu sɛ ɔma bibie hunahuna no aba no onyame sɛm mu a enti me pɛ na asɛm ɛna the tosubi no me hu sɛ he is honest with his God ba ɔne ne nyankopɔn ntɛm a ɔnyɛ prepared sɛ ɔbɛma biribiara bɛhyɛ ɔne ne nyankopɔn ntɛm nipa ɔtɔ so mmienu ɛyɛ baabi a mebɔ ɛso no yɛfrɛ no Samojo Kwaakye ɔyɛ one person a he will draw you closer groom you and then release you into the field who sɛ woyɛ bibi papa he will draw you closer and then the osusu sɛ ɛsɔ de boa wo biara no he will give it to you and then he will release you back nti ɛno ma woyɛ detailed nti adeɛ bi a woyɛ no you pay attention to details nti bi a ɔno boa me with that brother Siames akukuduro ɛne ne energy no ɛnso so aboa me with how I do my work nti nkurɔfoɔ mmienu na mɛbɔ mu din for now.
Joe, any other question? Okay, I send me anybody. I'm the last question. Some time passed. I stand to be corrected though. Now, okay, say obusu mono mubumfu because mubufua the aftermath is devastating, and to me, it was somewhat overstated because nipa bia ebufu. Timpese mimi hu say how do you control your anger? Abra obufu. Okay,
nti one ti ase yi. Me say ye mo ema. Ti ye nyini no there is a story. Ya unya nyini na odu ba bia ye kasa kyewa wote a na ye de ahye wutirim. Na de nti a ye mo ema no eye one of my grandfathers. Na yire agege no a the obvious reaction was say ba ne say obebo no. And then he was advised say he shouldn't even sleep in the same room with the wife. To no koda baby foforo. Ade eche na yire no ewu. In this enkoda dem ho obviously the make say mokoda ye no wa mia ne kon because bra wo yire e torment no obi e hu. Ebufuo de ebufu say be Yesu kura ba say ne bufu yi. One of the things that meye te ebufuo no eye mienu ebufuo wo medwuma mu na ebufuo wo mi fi medwuma mu no I try to calm myself down and so the mekan no the ma obufu e wa adwuma we mu no eye criticisms question bi wo no mo a e provocative enti ma set rules bi e de ama me and ma dwen kire me say eboa me. Number one, question a speculative minia no. Yemfa ne say. Tunya start a question, yemfa ne say pe. Enam say enye actual question no. Ma dwen kire me say ebetimi a enter into an unending venture. Tunya asase na speculative a minia no. De tosu mi no me ibusa ma obi. Ti me de mete ase o na ebi ana obi nte ase eno nso assumption ti eno nso so me yia no ma dwen kyerem say by with experience no aboa me a lot cause they generate a lot of controversy our line of work no saa ne man say wo actual question ask. So that is number one. Number two, no, I do not pretend to be all knowing. To answer my question, let me to me in Yanwa, I said, and then we are saying, make up to us a question where the mini who answer. I quite research na me the abrel. So what was the one to ask ya? And one no. Me quite research na the bebrel. Imagine them say no so aboa me. Now say me bufua in the line of my work. Me bufua me the yanchire na no kro me say me dwuma we mu me bufu mu a my mind becomes sharper since me bufu yi te me bufu a ade bia mesua no me hu say maybe because of the release of adrenaline aba me moje mu no knowledge begin to flow e wa madwem a lot ti ade kro no e bi anka abusa ho asem no afei we hu say my answer to it becomes sharper. The last is you say maybe I may go overboard, I'll cut it. Now me fee say once me bufua no dey so bufua think of me na go betumi afu mo yere no ma no me kwada ande o mususa te ya na bufua me mfa bufuo mo wom ba me bufu na ese mo wa mebo me yere I'll try to talk it over as I'm crying person you can say me hwe na we are not being reasonable the two of us I'll cut it and then find appropriate time and we revisit the whole situation and then we discuss it. Mokaya bra meche mumu ware ebia ware right meche marriage for ade no me catch the man no say ukunu bufu na opia manimpie me ma sa na yete ye bufu no enhye da nche aho ti ufree scene ho na okame ne ho da you will come back. So these are some of the things that I do with my anger. But one thing I try to do, and it's I calm myself down. When you calm yourself down, you are able to listen more, and you are able to process things well, and then you provide the necessary answers to that. And that's the way I deal with them.
Okay, so as a Mr. B. Nihodia, Sempakini, better was it. I wore a queen, Oje Penny. Say whatever my na asimbia I will be I see to me ebisano yebisa and even though time no India boy minim sense miss and brain now hono and it is our only prayer say in future no you be to me enyao on the same seat na you to me ebisa and sembia aka.
Remember my last submission.
Okay.
My age I don't talk about it. To me, about my son, make a catch them. I'm going to sentimental. And also, probably in my book, I will state it in it, or maybe not far from today, I will announce it when the right time comes. But age-wise, I am not old. I am age-wise, I am a young man. Oh, I'm ready on the end. I don't see myself as such. And I want tenor, the person will be adequate fee. Say, what the numbers here, I see wedding. A year, we yards into no crowd. Want to say at sometimes, I am a young man because I don't think as such and I don't behave as such. I'm a very young person. Meaning, sir. The boy want to say, "Eyi agro if you were so." See, adebia me no, I approach it with seriousness. And then you know, said American, me start preaching. Obi am handle congregation. I was in my early 20s. Think about it. See, early 20s. I'm a handle congregation. Think about it. One of the challenges during those times is about fraketekete. But about fraketekete no one can hear. Why drink was in fear medi. Now but in terms of reason and the way you carry me no. And about fraketekete I said. Fear go fear no. You might be in your early 20s, late 20s, early 30s, late 30s, probably around 40s, maybe. But never ever see yourself say, Usa, Now, no, bra, have you make a statement to me? I loved it. Me ni do na me nso anso so perfect. Na the show so a say your name what say penyini. Won twan ema obi nka bibi nkyerɛ wo ansa na waye. Te Sebi, baby, I mean nipa wo bia no. I always think ahead of time. Te obi a ɔyɛ ne nneɛma twan enkyɛn am ne nya problem. Te mesrɛ mo, age in my view is just a number. And yet time I will compare about when you use age is just a number. In terms of the way you carry yourself, said the obe ball bra, said the obe ye wedumano, and fancy utrim da se usa. When you are 18 years ago, I'm ready to say when you behave as such. And trust me, ansana ubedu baby age wise, Rebecca say when you know, ube say no one achieve a lot. A lot. They made to me the German, they say, I am less than 40 years. I am less than 40 years. To think about it. You need 40 years. And so, me know be already 60 years is here. Me less than 40 years, and maybe a conversation of ideas. And then me go radio so. Say, what you be? No kuro mse kremoni no wantumi am yampon mala musa or tam ne koran pa okọ because strategically me to me examine the delivery no number pokey holes. Yes, as you say, I know nothing about the Quran. Now, you cannot be too sure about that. The first time I'm in Islam, you cannot be too sure about that. And so, you didn't come on. And one thing about me, they say, I know when to strike. Or provoking me, we are not. And none of them are fairly relaxed. So today, he threw in the challenge. So, beat me, Quran verse, and I'm saying, come on. So, when I quoted 2 verses from the Quran, and I told him, read it. I feel reading that, the voice is shaky. Read the who say ye tam ne phone in the Quran or coffee. One moment no say you be any cinema, we try to do so many, but I know the end only bet now on more. Obi you be a Timesremo. Ye mranti and my bow, and that is one of the reasons why youth could there was so no energy, they have me. Because I am a youth, I am your fellow, said the Peter Can, I'm your fellow elder, I am your fellow youth. To age wise, it be a moving when you cinema. To you ask yourself, I will be a branch here to say, and this is Takrade Church. This is Takrade Church about the same preach you muda. I ask some ketwa. Now a branch here to say, even up till now. Me less than 40 years here. Imagine say me free a crab and never did say. But I was very much determined in my mind. They said, hey, it is doable. And against all odds, I came. And here we are. And to me, Madam, I said, someone told us a friend.